to another episode of Rochelle's Creative Dishes, where good food changes the mood. Now, I'm super excited about this dish, y'all. This is a great way to welcome in the fall weather with beautiful gala apples. Okay, beautiful gala apples. So let's get into the dish I'm about to make, okay? So we're doing pork chop, apples, and onions. We're gonna add some brown sugar. We're gonna add some maple syrup, some nutmeg, cinnamon, onions, herbs, and all those type of things. And it's gonna be quite amazing, okay? So let's get into this meal. So the first thing we're going to do is get our onions and our apples sliced up. We're going to sit our pork chops to the side. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut the apples and the onions first, because I want those to get a good saute before I put the onions in. Before I put the pork chops in. So I'm just doing a rough cut on these onions. All right. Just gonna leave them kind of sliced like this. Oh, I'm gonna drop my knife on set. Hold on, because you know mistakes happen while you're on set. So give me one moment. So I have just some seasoning here, nutmeg and cinnamon, some butter, and you cannot have a savory sweet dish without herbs. So we have thyme, rosemary, some basil, and we're going to go ahead and hit our pan with a little olive oil spray, and we're going to add a little butter. I want the apples and the onions to cook slowly, so I'm going to heat the pan up just a little bit, and once they start, sizzling and doing whatever it needs to do, we're going to turn the temperature down. All right, so I'm going to let that heat up for a moment. We're going to set our extra onions to the side. Just going to roughly, I want to keep some of these sliced, so I'm not going to dice them that much. So we're going to move our onions to the side, and we're going to go to our apples. And I'm going to cut. Ooh, what's the apples so hard to cut? So cut. What's going on here? Okay, there we go. So I'm going to take the core out. All right, as you can see, the butter and the olive oil has started sizzling over here. So I want the apples to be cut just a little, not too thick and not too thin. So maybe like an inch, maybe something like this right here. And I'm not like an apple, not a green apple. I don't really care for red apples, but I'm gonna taste it. It tastes amazing. Okay, I'm gonna add that to the pan. Another fruit that I like to cook with around the fall time is fig. Oh my God, I made this dish last year this time with fig, and it was amazing. So there's so many things you can do with the fruit and the vegetables in this fall time weather. What we have: pumpkin, figs, apricots, acorn squash. That's actually, we're going to use that on the next episode. I'm going to do some acorn squash, and we're going to get this fall comfort dishes popping, okay? We're going to add some more apples. This is going to be a savory, sweet dish, especially if you like cooked apples. Now, I'm really not a big fan of cooked apples, but I like it when it's paired with onions and other savory spices. So I'm going to add just a little of cinnamon and nutmeg. I couldn't find my teaspoon, y'all. Add a little bit of that to there. Then we're just going to hit it with just a little, if you guys see this seasoning right here is Everglade season, you really can put this on anything that's so good. So this is like my go-to, Kinder's, and also this right here. So I'm just going to hit the apples and the onions with a little bit of that. I'm going to slowly just let them cook down, and it's smelling good, okay? We're going to put a couple of, just some thyme, add just a little bit more butter. Because I don't want it to cook too fast, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit because I want it to still have the juices flowing, okay? I came on set, and you know how sometimes you cook it and you just forget ingredients? So that's what I did today. So I was going to add just some brown sugar to this dish. However, I'm going to take just a little maple syrup and add to it, and it'll be just fine. So you have to improvise, because if you don't have all the ingredients, you have to make it work. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about being creative. make it work. So I'm gonna cut up some more apples to put in here because I do want the flavor of the gala apple to saturate when I put the pork chop in it. So while the apples are cooking down, I'm going to go ahead and season our pork chop. These apples are. Ooh, can I jump them? All right, let's get one. All right, so we have our pork chops, and I've chosen to use the thin cut pork chops. Really, the only pork chops I like. I don't like them too thin, so we have the thin cut right here. You can use whatever ones you like, but these are so easy to handle and deal with. They cook easy as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and season this. And what I have here is some lavender, lemon pepper, lavender Cajun, Everglade seasoning. I'm gonna just add it to the pan. Add it on the pork chop. And the thing about the spices that's combined together is really like the salt. And it's in there, but you can really add all these together and it's seasoned very well. It will not be too salty or anything. So that's a good thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pat that in. All right, so we're gonna check on our onions and apples, which is smelling amazing. So before I put my pork chop in, because this is gonna be a one pan meal. So this is you can just make it easy for yourself. You can just add everything to the pan, let the pork chop, the onions, the herbs, the apples, everything cook together, and the perfect one pan fall meal. So I'm going to just separate the onions like this right here, and then I'm going to add the pork chop to it. Now when I add the pork chop, I want to turn the heat up a little bit, so you can turn it up to, you know, medium high, just to make sure that, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I have a quick idea. This is what I want to do. It's not even an idea. I just think that this is a quicker way, because I want the pork chop to get a good sear on it. So I'm going to take the onions and the apples and put it to the side for a moment. So okay, so we're going to go ahead and add the pork chop to the pan. See, that's what I want, to get a nice sear. Sometimes you just got to hear it, you know what I'm saying? Because when you hear it, it's like sizzle, 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 my nizzle, right? And these pork chops does not take long at all. I want them to get a nice brown sear on it. I'm gonna put a little extra olive oil on the pan. And you can, if you don't eat pork, you can use chicken. I think chicken and apples will be good as well. So I'm gonna let these get a good little sear on them before I add the apples and the onions back into the pan. All right, so I'm gonna clean up this area right quick, guys, and I'll be right back with you once the pork chop has a nice sear, and I'll show you when I add in the apples and the onions and the herbs and everything else. So I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I've already pan seared the pork chop. I want to show you guys how that look on this camera. Just pan sear, and these are thin, like I stated, so they don't take long. So I'm going to add the onions and the apples back to it. The onions and the apples smelling good, I'm telling you. Smelling so fallish. So fallish. I'm going to turn the temperature down on it a little bit. I'm going to add some more rosemary and thyme, and then we're going to add some scallions just to give it another, you know, just a little flavor, a little color, you know what I'm saying. And we're going to add some bay leaves, and we're going to just let this cook down for a moment. I actually want to add just a little water to it. I wish I had some chicken broth, but you know what? I don't have it here, so we're going to use water. Okay, just a little water, just to make like a little liquid on it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of our maple syrup to it. Oh, that's going to be amazing. What am I looking for? I'll have some dried basil leaves. I'm going to add a little bit about that. A little bit of that. That's why I say fall is all about savory dishes. I love it. A little water in there just to give it a little liquid to cook down with. And it's going to go ahead and produce its own sauce with the oil, the butter, the syrup. Let that cook down. Turn the temperature up just a little bit. And we're going to put the top on it. We're going to let this saturate, let all the flavors, you know what I'm saying, just marry each other. Marry, marry, marry each other. And I'll be back. Alright guys, so like I told you guys before I left, I was gonna let this simmer down. It is smelling amazing, y'all. Let me show y'all. Okay, so I added some fresh apples just to give it some color, some bay leaves. We're gonna go ahead and get this plated. Okay, I'm just gonna take our pork chop. We're gonna just lay it. Oh my God, it smells so good. So this is a quick meal, especially when you use the thin cut pork chops. And you can pair this with mashed potatoes or rice. I wouldn't eat anything with it because it's just like all the flavors are just here. But I think that it definitely will go good with some mashed potatoes or some sort of rice or some sauteed kale or whatever, however you want to do that. What we have here, guys, is grilled pork chops, apples and onions, savory sweet dish, the perfect meal for fall. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. And you know what, guys, don't forget to hashtag RCD, Good Food Changes the Mood, and subscribe. See you guys next time.